All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to begin today's policy session of the Phoenix City Council for December 13th, 2016. It appears we do have a quorum present. We'll start today's meeting by turning to members of the council and see if they have any information or follow-up requests for staff or the public. Do any members of the council have any follow-up information? Councilwoman Stark, you're first.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple more thank yous than announcements. On November 17th, we had our coffee chat at the Black Rock Bouldering Gym. It's a great new little venue on 32nd Street, and we were lucky to have 32 Shea provide the food and coffee, and if you haven't been to that little restaurant, you really need to go. It's located at 32nd Street in Shea. And Ray Dovalina was our speaker, and he got a lot of good questions thrown at him, but he did very, very, very well. And then on November 19th, we did a ribbon cutting for the new Christie Cove Playground. It is a hit. It is such a wonderful place, and it's just been nonstop visitors. You're shaking your head, Ingrid. It's a fabulous addition. And then we had a concert at Royal Palm, and that was great. And then on November 22nd, took a tour of West Meck Construction Trades Program with the Vice Mayor. It was very interesting, very interesting. And I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope they shopped Phoenix. That's so important, especially enjoying Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. And then November 30th, we did a Black Mountain Coffee with a Cop. And then December 3rd, the APS Electric Light Parade. It was a great parade. Good job by the staff again. And then on the 5th, at Honor Health, John C. Lincoln, Crystal Princess tree lighting. Every year they have the princess visit, and she lights the tree up. And then on December 8th, Chief Williams came to speak to District 3. We met at Sunny Slope Community Center. She did a great job. There were great questions. It was a great event, very well attended, probably 100 people. And everyone brought either a gift for the Arizona Humane Society or for a toy drive that we're doing for UMOM. And so we still have that going on. So if you want to visit the Sunny Slope Community Center, please drop off a toy or some items for the Arizona Humane Society. And I want to wish everybody a happy holiday and continue to shop Phoenix.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Stark. Other members of the City Council? Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate the Cactus Park Block Watch Alliance. They had their potluck last week, very successful as usual. They're honoring all the Block Watch leaders. And tomorrow night is the Black Mountain Alliance potluck at Deer Valley Community Center. So everybody's invited. Come. The food is terrific. And I just want to remind everybody to shop Phoenix and wish them a Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any other councilman? Councilwoman Pastor.
I have lots to say. This Thursday, we will be having Ranch Market Toy Drive. Locations are 59th Avenue in Thomas and 32nd Avenue in Indian School. You can come by sharing and donating a new toy for families. We have the Senior Volunteer Recognition Luncheon. That is Wednesday, December 21st at the Arizona Grand Resort and Spa. We are recognizing all of those that volunteer. And then you have the Boys and Girls Club's holiday party Wednesday, December 21st at the Colangelo Center, and then Friday, December 23rd at the Roswin Center. We just want to make sure that everybody is aware of different gift toys and gift events. What I wanted to say is definitely shop local. I had the great pleasure of doing a segment at Francis Boutique, particularly with Carrie Mosier and Paul Mosier. Carrie, if anybody can see, does jewelry, and this is the brass bracelet that she graciously gave me because I've been after one of these bracelets, and she just happened to say, here, I'm going to give you this one. This one's really special to me. It's my first one I ever made. So I'm recognizing her only because and Paul, who has written books and writes middle school books, they are have a daughter named Harmony. They have two daughters, one named Harmony. And Harmony and Michael and Carvalho in my office and I are going to go visit Harmony because at this moment she's battling cancer, and I am going to go visit her and cheer her up as she's getting her chemo. But she's a vivacious child, a girl. She has a great spirit, great energy, and she is enjoying life right now, even through these trying times. And so I'm giving them a shout out today because we are thinking of them and praying for them. In addition, I want to wish all the families and residents of District 4 and the city a joyous and safe holiday season and a blessed new year, and hoping Vice Mayor Gallego will deliver in speedy time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Pastor. The Vice Mayor always delivers. All right, next. She's a great councilwoman. Jeez. Councilman Valenzuela.
Or before time. Thank you, Mayor. I want to congratulate some of our very local talent on their success for the BioAxle Solutions Challenge. BioAxle is an organization dedicated to supporting early-stage medical device and technology entrepreneurs. The top 3 winners come out of Arizona State University and Grand Canyon University out of District 5, and very proud, as I'm sure we all are, of all of them. And I also would like to congratulate a very good friend, a personal friend, but also a friend to our city, Jenny Poon, the founder of the Phoenix-based co-working space Cahoots, which is nationally ranked and, in fact, one of the highest-ranked co-working spaces in the world. Jenny has recently been named the Business Person of the Year by the Phoenix Business Journal. And so very excited for Jenny and for our ESPHX community. It's great to have a young entrepreneur from the ESPHX community be recognized as Business Person of the Year for the Phoenix Business Journal. And just one more note, because I'm really excited. I'm a big fan of GCU's basketball team, which is just that they continue to do some really big things. I'm really looking forward to watching GCU play the U of A soon. I don't think we have any U of A alum here, but it's exciting to see GCU play. It's exciting to see GCU play the U of A. Dwayne Russell is a young player out of GCU, and he's putting Arizona on the map, Arizona basketball on the map. Not that, the U of A and ASU's been doing a great job, but Dwayne Russell is the second leading scorer in the NCAA right now at nearly 27 points a game. He's exciting to watch. The team is exciting to watch, and I'm sure they'll have a great game against the Wildcats.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. It's been a great end of the year in District 8. Very much looking for, it's a big day for me tomorrow. I am judging the city's ugly sweater contest. I do not know how Mayor Stanton was willing to give up that honor, but very much looking forward to that, and looking, if anyone has any early favorites, let me know. I will not be participating in the ugly sweater contest, although they make some very ugly maternity sweaters, but decided to take a pass
Take a
on.
pass, take a pass.
Yes, so I don't have to see them for the rest of my life. District 8 has had a lot of wonderful, great holiday events, including the Festival Trees hosted at the Children's Museum with the Gay Chamber, great end of the year from NAACP event. We are looking forward to the Grant Park Christmas event on Friday, and we'll be out in the district with Garfield and Green Gables community meetings this week as well. Wanted to thank ASU Center for Gender Equity in Science and Technology for coming to downtown Phoenix and bringing about 80 young women to do computer programming. We got a lot of great technical talent in our community, and it will be exciting to see what those young entrepreneurs come up with. So I'm glad that CompuGirls was able to celebrate Computer Science Education Week with us. We are also in Phoenix participating in the White House's I Am MBK Digital Action Day, so I would encourage people to share good news about MBK-related work in our community. This morning, we moved forward with apprenticeship programs at the City of Phoenix that'll be part of the MBK program, including with our solid waste equipment operators and our Parks Department on the gardening side. So thank you to the city departments who are helping that program succeed. We got a lot of new partners this year that we have to celebrate. So we have a lot to be proud of at the City of Phoenix, and I've really enjoyed working with Councilwoman Pastor on that particular program. Also wanted to congratulate the mayor's office on Ian O'Grady's selection as a Marshall Scholar. That is very exciting, very prestigious, and look forward to seeing what he accomplishes in that role and having a great end of the year. I also wanted to congratulate the housing department. We had a great opening for Araterra this week, and 130 good-looking units. So would encourage everyone to come by. Mixed income project near a lot of great amenities in our St. Luke's corridor, which has been one of the hotter areas with new interest from medical and healthcare employers. So that area is definitely doing some great things and worth a visit if you haven't been recently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Thank you for mentioning E.O. Grady in my office. So that's the Marshall Scholarship is a very prestigious scholarship. He will be studying in England for a 2-year period as part of the Marshall Scholarship. So Ian, congratulations, but don't worry. He will not O'Gregsit my office until September. You like that, Catherine? Councilman Waring.
Thank you. First, the way Councilman Gallego said it, I thought Mayor Stanton won the ugly sweater contest last year.
Well, I did, but I actually just wore a regular sweater. I didn't even enter the contest.
And I thought you were always a natty dresser, so I was like, wow, it just shows what poor taste I had. The guy's so out of it, he wins the ugly sweater contest. And I will not be talking about, as a 3-time ASU alum, I'm somewhat embittered that Councilman Valenzuela even brought up sports, because at ASU we have really nothing to talk about that's pleasant at this point.
Hello.
Hey, just acknowledging facts, right?
Next year.
So, but now this next update from District 2, if you're watching this on tape, anytime other than today, Tuesday, December 13th, do not listen to this, do not show up, the event has already happened. So, but if you're watching this live, or catch it sometime today, Tuesday, December 13th, we are having our holiday party. Food and non-alcoholic drinks are on us at Zips, which is at the corner of 64th Street and Greenway. It is basically on the southwest corner. It's a little further east in the corner, again, on the south side of Greenway. We'd love to see you there. Because of this meeting, we're going to start a little bit later than we normally do. Be there at 6:30. I would invite all of my council colleagues, but you all can't come because of open meeting laws. But 3 of you can. Discuss amongst yourselves. So if you'd like to come. We don't get to socialize enough, and I'm sure it would be a hoot. So love to see you there, but certainly anybody who's listening, we'd love to have you come out and meet some other people. You don't have to live in District 2. We'd like to have you there. But again, just to repeat, this is Tuesday night, December 13th at 6:30. If you come tomorrow, because you see this on tape, we won't be there. Thank you. I
Thank you very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Waring. Councilman Nowakowski.
Mayor, thank you. I want to start off by thanking the Vice Mayor for all her efforts in a retention basin in the Levine area that's well needed. And we had a ribbon cutting just a week ago. And thank you, Kate, for everything you've done to really reduce the flooding in the Levine area. Also, Mayor, I'd like to thank our park staff for putting together the Winter Wonderland Festival at University Park. Turned out really nice. They had a little mini car show. They had Santa Claus taking pictures with all the kids and free food. So thanks to the park staff for putting that together. Also, Food City had their 15th annual Tamale Festival right out here in front of City Hall. Turned out to be the best Tamale Festival ever, and more people than last year. It's just amazing. It looks like they're going to have to expand a couple more city blocks to fit all the people that are attending. And I happen to be a judge, and it was tough to choose out of the 20 different tamales that were the best tamale in the city of Phoenix. Also, Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church, along with Feed the Children, they provided groceries to over 800 families, and it was a great partnership with PepsiCo and Feed the Children, and just to see the families come in and get a whole box of groceries and toys and clothing and all that. So really want to thank Feed the Children and PepsiCo for everything they do in our community and giving back to our community. Also, CPLC had their Christmas party where they gave out about 3,000 toys to needy children in the inner city. So thank you to CPLC, Chicanos por la Causa, for having their Christmas party every year and providing those toys. Also at Grant Park, they also provided 200 bicycles. It was the Victoria Foundation, Mary Rose and Pete. Thank you for always giving back to our community, and especially for those kids that don't have bicycles that always dreamt about it. 200 kids now have bicycles in downtown, and hopefully they're all wearing their helmets too, right? And, you know, one of the special events that we have in the city of Phoenix, and, you know, I want to thank the mayor and my colleagues for the Phoenix Festival of the Arts. It turned out to be a great event. It was at Margaret Hans Park, jam-packed. You should have seen all the artists and all the displays and vendors, and you couldn't hardly believe it was December. People were walking around with T-shirts and shorts. It's just beautiful to see people out there and shopping Phoenix and supporting the local artists. And also, Neighborhood Ministries opened up their community center just right here on 19th Avenue, Van Buren, one of the neediest communities in our city. And just really want to thank Neighborhood Ministries for everything they do in our community and providing services that we as the city of Phoenix have a partnership with them, and we need to continue supporting that. So thank you for all those supporters. And now when you drive down on 19th Avenue in Van Buren, you look towards the north side, northwest side, and you see those warehouses. Now they're full with children and activities going on for those kids in that area. And tonight we have the Taste of Hermosillo. It's a business reception and also a toy drive for De Colores, women's abuse shelter. So if you have a chance, we're going to be having the Taste of Hermosillo, which happens to be our sister city. And at the same time, we're raising some toys for the domestic violence shelter, De Colores. And once again, Mayor, we had fun at the light parade. Thank you for all those individuals that showed. I think we broke our record. It was just amazing to see all the individuals, and once again, our park staff and APS and all those sponsors of that great event. I keep on getting positive comments about the light parade. And finally, one of the traditions we started in the city and the Nowakowski family is that all of my nieces and nephews, we get together right after Christmas, and we go down here to Cityscape, and we use the ice skating rink. It's just a wonderful time to come down. If you haven't been into downtown Phoenix during the holidays, right there, right between Washington and Jefferson on Central Avenue, we have one of the largest ice skating rinks in Arizona, and it's just amazing to see how many people come out. Santa Claus is there now until the 25th, and we just invite people to come out and share the traditions. There's shows going on, the Nutcracker, and all kinds of plays going on. So come on down to downtown Phoenix, experience it. It's just incredible what's going on in downtown. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Nowakowski. I'll echo the comments of a couple of council members, and that is what a great tradition we have in this city with that light parade. 30 years, APS and City of Phoenix Parks Department have partnered to put on one of the best, most fun holiday parades in the United States of America. Some people ride cars, some people walk, whatever it takes. It's a fun parade. So thank you to the Parks Department for being such great partners. It gets bigger every single year, particularly with the great weather. You also mentioned downtown. Everyone is invited. Wednesday, December 21st, 4:30 at Cityscape in downtown Phoenix. We're all going to jump on grid bikes and go holiday caroling in downtown Phoenix. So every member of this council is invited, and every member of the public, come on down 4:30 on December 21st, and we're going to ride around to 3 or 4 local businesses and have some fun, do some fun holiday caroling, and then there's free ice skating afterwards as well, so it should be a fun little holiday.
Ugly sweaters, right?
And I'll be wearing the ugliest possible sweater, purposely or not. On a more serious note, I want to say thank you to our 2 senators, Senator Flake and McCain. This council has been united behind the issue of supporting downtown neighborhoods with the overflight noise issue. Council members Nowakowski and Pastor and the vice mayor and everyone has been so united behind challenging the FAA for that very inappropriate decision to change the flight pattern without going through the appropriate process. We needed some political firepower, and we got it. So in a budget reconciliation bill, I hope I've phrased that correctly, there's a requirement that there be an official review, and it's the most positive sign of success, which I think is heading our way in supporting those Central Phoenix neighborhoods. So thank you to Senator Flake and McCain. And then on a sad note, A good friend of the city passed away a week and a half or so ago, Madeline Ong Sakata, who was such a great leader in the Chinese community and the Asian community writ large. Was the longtime leader of the Asian Chamber of Commerce. I think everybody up here at one time or another participated in the banquet. We're still recovering from all the food we ate at those incredible banquets that brought the entire Asian community from all parts of the valley together. She turned the Asian Chamber into a powerhouse supporting locally owned small business and turned it into a political powerhouse as well, having involved in supporting various political campaigns that the city asked her to do. So a great leader, served for many years also on the Pacific Rim Advisory Council. Madeline Ong Sakata, the whole Ong family is just a legendary local family, and one of the great members of that family, a great leader in the city of Phoenix. Madeline Ong Sakata passed away a few weeks ago, and just wanted to let her family know that we are thinking of them, and we thank her and her family for all of the years of service to advance the city of Phoenix. All right, next on the agenda, is Councilman DeCiccio, is he on the phone? Okay, so we're going to move forward on today's agenda. Next on the agenda is a call for executive session. Vice Mayor.
Mayor, in accordance with a properly posted notice and agenda, I move that the City Council, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes Section 38-431.02a, meet in executive session on Tuesday, December 20th, 2016, at 9 a.m. at 300 West Jefferson Street, Phoenix, Arizona, and on Tuesday, January 10th, 2017, at 1 p.m. in the East Conference Room, 12th floor of Phoenix City Hall, 200 West Washington, Phoenix, Arizona.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Mr. City Manager, do we have any reports or budget updates?
Mayor, we do not, but we will have a budget update in January when you return from the holidays.
All right, excellent. And we originally had a water briefing today, but I think there are some significant ongoing conversation discussions, and we wanted to make sure that we had those further wrapped up before we report what we believe will be very positive news before the City Council. So our one substantive agenda item today is our state and federal legislative agenda. Our Deputy City Manager in charge of our Intergovernmental Affairs Office is Karen Peters. And it'll be a chance for this gentleman to appear before this council for the first time, and for the citizens of Phoenix to meet their new Director of Governmental Affairs, Frank McCune. Karen, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here today as we get through the holidays and the bustle of the fun that we're having. We are, as staff, looking ahead to the new year. 2017 will bring us a new state legislature, a new Congress, a new federal administration, and it is that time when we present to you a proposed state and federal legislative agenda. It is, as you said, Mayor, my distinct pleasure to introduce Mr. Frank McCune, our new Government Relations Director. I think this is day 7 on the job, right, Frank? And so with that, I will turn it over to him. Thank you.
Good to see you, Frank.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Karen. Mayor and Council, we are honored today to present to you the proposed federal and state agendas. We're going to offer in each section the set of guiding principles and then specific legislative items that we're looking at. Recognize that the guiding principles will cover a great deal of what our focus areas are. So if I can have the, yeah. Got taken away. So we're going to start today with the federal agenda. The federal agenda is going to have 2 guiding principles in it, and then 4 categories to look at in terms of items that we're covering. The 2 guiding principles are promoting fiscal sustainability and protecting local authority. Mr. James Orlowski, who is covering our federal program, will cover the specific items in the categories.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, just a point of note, they correspond to the report you guys previously received with regard to the numbering, so they'll follow directly.
Thanks, Frank, and good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We spent the last couple of months meeting with you, going to subcommittees and talking about our proposed federal agenda, and so we're excited and glad to bring that final proposal to you here today. Like Frank mentioned, our federal agenda is broken into 4 issue areas, the first being public safety, And really, when we talk about our public safety priorities and what we're bringing forward to you today, it's really focused on those critical public safety grants that we get from the federal government that we really rely on in order to provide public safety to our citizens. On the police side of things, as you see on this slide, that takes the form of the Community-Oriented Policing Services, or COPS grant, as well as the slate of grants that we pursue from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. We've been hugely successful with pursuing those federal funds. In the last few years, we've gotten approximately $5.5 million in COPS grants, and that's enabled us to hire approximately 40 officers. And when we talk about some of the justice programs grants, we've been successful in getting over $11 million of those grants in the last few years. And so what we're talking about is making sure that that funding continues to come to the city so that we can provide a high level of service to the community and public safety. Likewise, in terms of the fire department, there are also grants that we rely on from the federal government as well, including the SAFER and AFG grants, and those allow us to both hire new first responders and firefighters, as well as equip and train them. And so, again, we really look to the federal government to provide those crucial funds for public safety, and so we want to make sure that funding continues to come to the city. Over the past 8 years, fire has been successful in getting over $56 million in FEMA grants, and so, again, it's a critical part of our federal agenda. Also, we talk about Homeland Security, of course, as a core public safety function of the city, and we want to make sure that Urban Area Security Initiative, or UASI funding, continues to come not just to the city but to the region. It's really critical funding that we get that allows us to maintain our Homeland Security and protect our citizens. The price tag for that is about $5.5 million a year that comes to the region, and so again, hugely important to maintaining our Homeland Security capabilities. The next issue area that we have for you is transportation, and this is going to be an extremely critical area in 2017. It's always, frankly, important to the city, but when you listen to some of the messaging that's coming from the new administration and the new Congress, it's clear that transportation and coming up with some sort of a transportation and infrastructure package is going to be a top priority for the new administration. And so, we want to look closely for all opportunities and make sure that as they're coming up with a plan for infrastructure, that we're getting our fair share in Phoenix and that we're able to advance our infrastructure projects. One of our continuing top priorities in our federal agenda continues to be our high-capacity transit projects, notably the South Central Light Rail extension, which is sort of the next extension, as you know, that's up in our light rail portfolio. And so we want to make sure that South Central gets included in the FY 2018 President's budget, and that we get corresponding appropriations from the federal government to supplement the funding that we have here locally to move that light rail extension forward. We also talk about stormwater and drainage infrastructure, which is another critically important area for the city to pursue. We know as city staff that there's approximately a $1.75 billion need for infrastructure in this area. And so we want to make sure that we're working with all of our federal partners, whether it's FEMA, whether it's the Army Corps of Engineers, and basically, again, pursuing all different avenues for funding for that unmet need. Again, it's over $1 billion, and so we want to look for those opportunities going forward in 2017. Also in transportation, of course, we have our Sky Harbor and aviation priorities. And so one of the issues that Congress will have to deal with in 2017 is reauthorizing the Federal Aviation Administration. In 2016, they did do a short-term, basically one-year extension of the FAA's funding and authority. And so they'll have to take that issue back up in 2017. And so we'll look to continue to advocate for the city's priorities. And most notably, of course, and you heard the mayor mention this in his earlier remarks, but the FAA flight path and noise issues. As the mayor had alluded to, we did get great news in the form of Senator McCain and Flake getting language inserted into the Defense Authorization Act for 2017. And so just really want to thank our congressional delegation, both our senators as well as Congressman Gallego and Congressman Schweikert and the rest of our delegation have really been incredibly supportive. And so we want to thank them and also continue to work with them in the new year to try to address some of those concerns that our historic neighborhoods have. The third issue area that we have for you on our federal agenda is water and environment. And in this area, a top priority for us is really supporting programs and initiatives that protect Phoenix's water supply and really bolster Colorado River levels. It is a critically important issue, and we want to make sure that as drought discussions and water resource discussions are taking place in Congress, as we know that they will in 2017, that Phoenix's and the region's interests and priorities are protected. And then we're not sort of losing out as California debates those issues as well. We also do talk about some of our sustainability priorities in the city of Phoenix, including EV or electric vehicle infrastructure, tree canopy and shade, climate resiliency and renewable energy. And really, we just want to look for opportunities. We know that there's going to be a new administration, a new Secretary of Energy, and so we want to look for opportunities to partner with the new administration and the new agency to see if there are any opportunities where we might be able to advance Phoenix's climate and sustainability issues that we have in our portfolio. We also talk about the Land and Water Conservation Fund. It's critical funding that our Parks Department over the years has gotten for South Mountain and really just a variety of different parks projects. We actually have a current pending grant for some LWCF funding, and so we want to make sure that that funding continues to come to the state and to cities and support that. Finally, in our water and environment issue area, we also do talk about Rio Salado Oeste. And you can see on the map there, just as a reminder, that Oeste is sort of the middle link between Tres Rios on the west and then Rio Salado on the east. And so Rio Salado is that project that's yet to be completed. We're sort of in the planning phase on that. And so we're looking for any opportunities to work both with our congressional delegation as well as the administration to see if we can get funding for pre-engineering and design to basically move that project forward and sort of complete the link between Tres Rios and Rio Salado. The final issue area that we have for you today is community development, and here we're really focused on those critical programs that really support Phoenix's neediest residents. We talk about funding for public housing. You know, we've been very successful with getting a Ross grant, a Choice Neighborhoods grant, and so we want to continue to look for ways that we can support our public housing portfolio, also innovative and different solutions that we can bring to bear on some of the challenges that our housing department faces. Also services for our homeless population, and programs and services for both seniors and youth. So again, those areas where there are some really needy residents in our community, we want to look to continue for opportunities to help those folks in our community. And really one of our top priorities in the community development portfolio continues to be fair share. Over the years, Phoenix, we know that we don't receive a fair share of federal funding. When you compare us side by side with other cities of comparable size and population, we know that we're not getting that level of funding that we should. As an example, community development block grants, although we're the 6th largest city in the country, I think we're something like 16 on the list of cities that receive CDBG funds. And so we want to continue to carry that message that we've brought to DC over the years. We want to continue to carry that banner and advocate for the city to get its fair share of federal funds in this area. We also do talk about workforce development issues in this area. And that includes, of course, our efforts, which are well established to support opportunity and disconnected youth, and also, in that note, support the city's involvement in My Brother's Keeper. And with that, those are our federal priorities, and I'll turn it back over to Frank.
So Mayor and Council, these are the federal priorities with the guiding principles and the 4 topic areas that we're proposing for your consideration for our 2017 federal agenda.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn it to members of the council, see if there is a motion and a second, then we'll have any discussion on our federal agenda. Councilman Williams, you have a question or comment? Or?
I have a question, comment.
Please.
First of all, last time we had a new administration and they said infrastructure, we were very fortunate to submit for grants because we had many shovel-ready projects. Do we have a list of what we have available this time? And I think we should make our federal lobbyists aware of it. So if there's any hint that they would be eligible, we could immediately apply. Do we
No.
have a list that you've been presented?
Councilwoman Williams and Mayor and Council, that's a great question. We will work with the Streets Department and Public Transit Department to come up with that list of shovel-ready projects to, as you say, be prepared to move forward as soon as an opportunity arises. So we'll get with staff from those departments and put that list together.
Because that's got us in the door very quickly and got us some money that we hadn't anticipated. So I think it's very important that
I
we're
think
prepared this
between
time.
what we know about stormwater, what we have with Transportation 2050 for street projects, that was a big one last time, if you remember. We could do street paving very quickly because it didn't require environmental. And so we have those lined up with Transportation 2050. I think your point is right. We got to consolidate it into one place so it's ready to go as one package, and we'll work on that.
And then secondly, you know, City of Phoenix is a partner in the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. And they are desperate for a new tower. It is the original tower Air Force. And I would hope that our people would support them in their efforts, because that too may fall under that category, because they're not going to move forward very quickly, nor can they have the capacity or accommodate other flights without a new tower. With that, I would move the agenda noting those.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments by members of this council? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes 7-0. Next, we'll move on to state legislative agenda. Frank McCune.
I'm sorry, I'm getting used to the microphone. I enjoy it. For the state guiding principles, we are offering 4 categories for the principles, and then also 4 categories for action, legislative actions and items that we'll be paying attention to. Those 4 principles are protecting shared revenues, preserving local control, preventing unfunded mandates, and protecting water resources. These will guide the team's actions with your approval as we move forward and filter through and look at legislation at the state. Mr. John Wayne Gonzalez will now run through the categories that we're covering.
Thank you. The first item in your packet deals with public safety, that section, and it was brought before the Public Safety Subcommittee. The first item is looking at adequately funding the 911 infrastructure. In 2001, the state created a 911 fund, and it created a fee, a tax on phone accounts, whether it be cell phone or landlines, and that was at 37 cents a month. Over time, the legislature reduced that amount down to 20 cents. Matter of fact, it went down to 20 cents in 2007. Currently, the revenues that are coming into that account are an estimated $18 million a year. However, the need for technology throughout the state of Arizona with all our public safety agencies is definitely higher than what the revenues are coming in at. In fact, it didn't help that since 2003, the legislature has swept more than $50 million from that fund. So staff would like to move forward and work with the adequate stakeholders to try to find a way to resolve this issue to make sure we have the adequate funding we need for our technology in 911. The next issue is dealing with the Maricopa Reentry Center in North Phoenix. Earlier this year, the center started a program, expanded its program from the Tucson area to try to create a transition program to allow people exiting the Department of Corrections to help them with training, to help them with treatment, and for some that are homeless, at least to have a bed until they can get on their feet and get back into the community. What has happened is there are a lot of residents in the area that are concerned with a lot of this population now kind of circulating in that area. So one item that came up from a lot of the discussions is at a minimum requiring those parolees to have some type of identification card on their person. This would allow law enforcement, if they interact with these individuals, to quickly identify these people and be able to address the center, getting hold of the center, and definitely make sure they knew who they're talking to when they're out doing their patrols. Another issue is public safety funding. We definitely receive state monies for several public safety needs. And one of those, I'll go down the list real quick, to make sure that the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center gets adequately funded. That's very critical to the Maricopa region and the state when it comes to terrorism and homeland security items. And then a fund that was created 2 years ago by the legislature, the Internet Crimes Against Children Fund, ICAC for short. And those monies go really support the vast majority of what the Phoenix Police Department is doing to crack down on those predators that are tracking children or using children in pornography. So that's a critical funding stream. We receive right now about $1 million a year, so we want to continue that funding. And then finally, in this area, making sure that the Arizona State Hospital, which is located at 24th Street and Van Buren, receives the funding it needs to make sure that their security, whether it be infrastructure or personnel, is adequate, to make sure that the neighbors and the residents and the businesses around there are safe from the individuals that are in that facility. The next item is dealing with streets. It was submitted by the Streets Transportation, which was submitted to the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee. And we're looking, Streets Department is looking at making some revisions to Title 34. As a reminder, Title 34 is a section of state law that governs how governments build and maintain public infrastructure, such as roads. So in some of the areas that we're looking at revisiting, one is architect and engineer fee limits. State law dictates how much services we can receive from an architect and engineer firm without going to a procurement process, but the levels for the fees are, they're off. Architects right now is about $250,000, while engineers are set at $500,000. So staff would like to work with stakeholders to look at if we can level the playing field and get to simplify the fee process for both and smooth it out so that we don't have two different fee levels that don't make sense right now. Looking at the forced work account, trying to revise the forced work account system, state law also dictates how much work a public entity can do to repair, to maintain roads, and then a certain threshold, a financial threshold, then that has to be procured out. Staff would like to work with the stakeholders to look at those numbers again and see if they reflect reality, with the costs increasing, with the labor and with construction products. See if we can increase those numbers at a level that we can all work for. And sometimes it doesn't make sense when we have emergencies to address sinkholes, to address nature events that impact our streets and roadways, and they need to be repaired immediately. We can't wait for private contractors to come out. Those are some of the challenges we have with the current financial thresholds that are in state law. So we want to work with stakeholders on looking at those numbers. Also looking at modernizing the advertising requirements. Right now, when we go to a procurement process for these projects, we have to go to a general newspaper and put the notice out. But let's look at what's happening with using the internet as a possible method, maybe directing those dollars for advertising into, putting those dollars into a periodical that's dealing with those groups of contractors. So we'd like to look at that as well in this discussion. Also, design-build revisions. Design-build is a methodology where you have one solid process to build a road or build infrastructure. Right now, state law requires that a licensed contractor has to head up the design-build project if that's the way you're going to build development. The problem is that sometimes it doesn't make sense that design-build is being led by a contractor. Sometimes maybe it's the engineering firm, maybe the architect firm. Or maybe it's the entity that is going to manage and maintain the infrastructure once it's complete. So we'd like to work with the stakeholders, see if we can kind of revise that. In the end, it's still going to be a licensed contractor that's going to build the project, so they still play a major role. And then finally, looking at under the procurement process, if we, under a low bid process, can we kind of modify that to add a best value approach? And we're talking about, can we look at not just low bid, but can we look at the quality of that contractor, the work that they do? Can we look at their safety records? Can we look at their experience? Can we look at their history of delivering on time and under budget or on budget? And so those are little items that we'd like to add to the low bid process that can be used in order to secure private sector involvement in building our infrastructure. Now, in the area of sustainability, these items were brought before the Sustainability, Housing, Efficiency, and Neighborhood Subcommittee. One item is dealing with Property Assessed Clean Energy Programs, PACE. So PACE programs are not new. They've been around for a while. I believe over 30 states have some type of PACE program. And what it is it allows property owners to voluntarily participate in an assessment where they would agree to assess themselves for infrastructure. It could be solar, it could be efficient cooling and heating systems, insulation. It could be water saving, water pumps that are more efficient. It could lead to a lot of things. What it is basically allows those assessments to be placed on property so that they can pay for those improvements over time if they don't have the monies up front. And again, it would have to be a voluntary process for the property owners to participate. Another item is the Alternative Generation Program, known as AG1. In 2012, based on a settlement case, a rate settlement case, the Arizona Corporation Commission created a program that allowed large energy users to purchase less expensive electricity from a third-party provider. Phoenix was one of the few that was selected to participate in this program. And since we've been participating, the city of Phoenix has saved an estimated $8 million in energy costs. That current program is set to sunset in July of 2017, so staff would like to be able to work with the stakeholders in order to extend the program and so that our taxpayers can continue to receive the benefit of low energy costs. And then the final item on this section is dealing with the Volkswagen settlement. As you're aware, Volkswagen had vehicles in America that didn't have the proper emission controls, and because of that, were sued by the Department of Justice. They came to a settlement. More than $15 billion is going to be given to the United States government. As a part of that $15 billion, a certain amount of money is going to be set aside and given to the states that want to participate in clean diesel, clean air programs for their state. If Arizona decides to pursue the participation, we estimate that the state would receive $53 million. So staff would like to work with the proper state agencies in order to make sure that we can get a piece of that money for the Maricopa County region for our own clean air needs and issues. And then finally, the last item that was not went through the subcommittees, but a very important issue, is dealing with our city retirees. Right now, our city retirees are facing health care premiums that are actually increasing faster than market trends. And so what we're trying to do is work with the Arizona State Retirement System, ASRS, to see what the possibility is to allow our retirees to be able to participate in their health care pools, which would expand the pool, thereby lowering the cost to our city retirees, similar to what our City of Phoenix police and fire retirees can also participate in those health care plans, looking to make sure that we can have our city retirees do the same thing at no cost to the state. Right now, we have an estimated 4,000 civilian city retirees, and right now the ASRS pool is more than 138,000 strong. So if they were able to participate, we could see our retirees have lower health premium costs.
Mayor, council members, last year when we were working on retiree health care, I know you all heard from many of our retirees about that. And so we revised our retiree health care program. But one of the issues that was raised was whether our city retirees might have the same option that our public safety retirees have, which is to join the bigger state pool. Since retirees pay 100% of their health care costs, then they bear all the costs of health care, but they might have a lower cost alternative if they join in with the ASRS retirees, and we would need to work closely with ASRS, and they would have to accept that, but that would require a legislative change to open that to COPERS employees.
Mayor and council, so this is the state agenda we are seeking approval for, including the guiding principles, the 4 guiding principles that we covered, and these 8 subcategories that we'll be looking at.
All right, I'll first turn to council members, see if there's any questions. Councilwoman Williams, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I was talking with Ellen Stevenson the other day on group homes and the spacing required, and I know we're upgrading our ordinances. But one of the things that we identified is there's a new category, sober living. And so we need a definition from the state, what that is. So if you could talk to Ellen and include that, I think that'd be very important. Otherwise, I support their agenda.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Stark, any questions?
Mayor, if I could add on to the sober living definition, I've met with several constituents who have a couple of these living quarters in their neighborhood, and they have engaged a Representative Heather Carter to look at it, and she is going to look at it comprehensively. And I was invited to a meeting she's hosting tomorrow to kick off the discussion of how to define it, how to regulate it. So it is probably something we need to keep on our radar. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Nowakowski, questions about the agenda?
Mayor, I like to watch for the municipal card, if there's any bills that will attack the municipal card that we're creating here in the city of Phoenix.
Thank you very much. I think we'll be monitoring that very, very closely, but Mr. King.
Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, it is absolutely within the 4 guiding principles that we have in terms of protecting local control, and we'll absolutely be paying attention to that, monitoring that.
Thank you very much. All right, do we have a motion on this proposed agenda? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments or questions by members of this council? Vice Mayor, please.
Just wanted to agree with Councilman Nowakowski that local control is very important, and from 1487, which I think is dangerous public policy, to what type of IDs we take at the city, we really do need to protect local control. So thank you for keeping an eye out for that. I suspect Councilman Nowakowski and I are also both agreed we represent some of the areas of the city with the greatest air quality challenges, where the life expectancy in our districts is substantively different than in other parts of even Maricopa County. And so I hope that the state will take that into account when they distribute the funding, that we really do have great need. It's hard to go to a part of our community where the majority of the young people have asthma. And it really is, this is a great opportunity, I hope, to be able to do something about that. Certainly, the city is not the lead on those particular issues, but we are close to the ground and maybe have information that others don't. And we have a great partnership with Arizona State, which is also helping us get better data on that. So if we can be helpful in the middle of the discussions about that, please let us or Arizona State know. Also very glad that we'll be supporting the State Health Department on their request for more funding for the state hospital. If we look at calls for service for our police and firefighters, we're spending a lot of time there, and so it will be a win for us if they can get the physical security they need for that facility. So looking forward to seeing what you can accomplish down there and wishing you good luck.
All right, thank you very much. Any additional comments? I know Frank and his team are going to be looking out for what we guess are going to be many instances of attempted state interference with local affairs. And so, assuming this passes, you have the authority to fight that as quick as possible. And then obviously, when you have future agenda items before this council, to get more specific opposition to attempts by the legislature to interfere in what is appropriately city affairs. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes 7-0. Good to see you. Congratulations on coming on board. Good luck this session. There is no further business before the City Council. Our policy session is now adjourned.